So the Senate this week will continue fulfilling its constitutional duty to confirm more of the President's judicial and administrative nominees. Yesterday, I filed cloture on 12 additional nominees, setting up a busy rest of the week here on the floor. Absent an agreement to expedite the process, and unfortunately we have seen all too few of those coming from our Republican colleagues, members can expect to begin voting tomorrow morning, and we will work through all 12 nominees until we have a path to getting them confirmed. Due to the months of obstructive holds by a few, just a handful of Republicans, in addition to judicial nominees, we also must use up floor time to confirm U.S. attorneys, something practically unheard of in the Senate. These Republicans who have delayed our U.S. attorneys are actively making our communities less safe, and it's regrettable they've chosen to obstruct the Senate for their own personal political interests. So my colleagues ought to be prepared for a busy few days here on the floor. Now, among the nominees we'll consider are two great nominees from New York, I'm proud to say. One, we'll consider Allie Nathan, Judge Allie Nathan, nominated to serve as judge for the Second Circuit. She is a brilliant jurist with a decade of experience as a district judge, and I was proud to recommend her to sit on one of the most important courts in the nation. I'm also pleased that the Senate will also vote on Hector Gonzalez to serve as district judge for the Eastern District of New York. Born in Cuba, raised in Queens, a Fulbright scholar who became one of New York's top attorneys, Mr. Gonzalez is the very embodiment of the American dream. And like Judge Nathan, I'm glad to have recommended him to President Biden. I'm also glad to note, under Senator Durbin's leadership, Judge Nathan and Mr. Gonzalez received bipartisan support in committee, so I look forward to the Senate confirming them in short order. But first, the Senate will look to make history once again later today by confirming Shalonda Young to serve as President Biden's director of the Office of Management and Budget, a cabinet-level position. She would be the first black woman ever confirmed by the Senate to lead the OMB. It shouldn't have taken this long to confirm someone as obviously as qualified as Shalonda Young. She's been leading the OMB for nearly a year. She knows the budget and appropriations processes like the back of her hand. She's proven capable of working with Republicans and Democrats alike, and it was through her guidance the administration notched some of its biggest victories, including the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Shalonda Young is one of the most effective cabinet leaders to have the label of acting in a very long time. But it's long past time for that word to drop from her job title. I look forward to the Senate officially confirming Ms. Young as OMB director later today. Now on the Omni, later this afternoon, I'll join with a number of my Senate colleagues in attending a signing ceremony at the White House for the 2022 Omnibus Funding Bill, one of many significant and bipartisan accomplishments of the Senate in recent weeks. In a 50-50 Senate, it's no small feat for this chamber to pass the boldest and most significant funding package that Congress has seen in a long, long time. Under this new package, students, parents, working families, small businesses, veterans will see costs go down and greater investments go their way. Our troops are going to get a much-needed raise. Student loan borrowers will see their maximum Pell Grant awards increase by the largest amount in over a decade, impacting 7 million students, not to mention their families. We're giving parents more help for affording child care and seniors more help to receive care at home. For the first time in years, the Violence Against Women Act, one of the most important pieces of legislation in the last 30 years, will finally be renewed, offering life-saving resources for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. And of course, we're keeping our promise to Ukraine by providing nearly $14 billion in humanitarian and military aid. This means food and shelter for the millions trapped in war, relief for the now 3 million refugees fleeing the country, and funding to transfer Javelins, Stingers, and other anti-tank and anti-aircraft weapons to the Ukrainian fighting forces. The Ukrainian people are not alone in their struggle against Vladimir Putin's savage war. I commend my colleagues on both sides of the aisle who accelerated the passage of this emergency funding, and I again commend President Biden for his handling of the crisis to date. As I said weeks ago, the President deserves immense credit for keeping the allies together against Putin, imposing crippling sanctions on Russia, and responding to a turbulent conflict with clarity and with strength. Some were pushing the President to do too much too soon, risking an escalation of the crisis and risking that our allies would not join us. But so far, the President's approach has been right on target. Thanks to the President's approach, Putin is now one of the most reviled and isolated leaders that the world has seen in a very long time. For this reason alone, signing the omnibus into law is a major accomplishment, and I thank the President, Senators Leahy and Durbin, and all our appropriators, and members of both sides of the aisle for getting it done. Now on SCOTUS. Mr. President, what do retired conservative judges, a group of 80 current and retired state attorneys general, the U.S. Black Chambers, and the International Association of Police Chiefs all share in common? You might ask yourself that question. Well, they are just a few of the many, many groups and individuals that have endorsed Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court. When I met with Judge Jackson a few weeks ago, it was immediately clear why so many different groups have sung her praises. On top of her brilliance, on top of her experience, she is unusually gifted at seeing and appreciating both sides of an argument. Little surprise, then, that in the course of rendering nearly 550 decisions as a federal district judge, she was rarely reversed by higher courts. In fact, she has been reversed perhaps around a dozen times out of 550 decisions. That's about 2% of the time. This week, members from both sides of the aisle will continue meeting with the judge. I believe under Senator Durbin's leadership, every member of the Judiciary Committee has had the chance to meet with her. I am confident that any new conclusions my colleagues make about her will keep pointing in one direction. Judge Jackson is brilliant, she is beloved, she belongs on the Supreme Court. It is worth repeating the 3 B's over and over again: brilliant, beloved, belongs, because those three words are undoubtedly true as applied to Judge Jackson. I yield the floor.